Quote of the day. Aversion is a form of bondage. We are tied to what we hate or fear. That is why in our lives, the same problem, the same danger or difficulty will present itself over and over again in various prospects, as long as we continue to resist or run away from it, instead of examining it and solving it. The venerated enlightened master Patanjali, vegetarian.
My personality, my body, my story as Amanda was like in that car in the accident. And I was like, the best of me were up here with the best parts of these beings.
Canadian paramedic Amanda Wideman shares how she believed she was going to die in a car accident and discovered a realm where she was known and loved by beings who had connected with her through many lifetimes. Amanda was 35 years old, working as a paramedic in a mountainous region of Canada. In 2017, she was the passenger in a car driving on a high mountain road. Another car came into their lane, causing them to lose control and swerve onto the gravel shoulder. The car spun, hit another vehicle, and flipped upside down, landing wheels up with the roof crushed on the concrete guardrail, teetering over the edge of a cliff.
As soon as our car lost control, it was a very split second, but I had the 101% belief that we were going to go over the cliff. I had worked as a paramedic in that area for a long time, and it was very well known that if there's a bad crash, the car just flies over the edge of the cliff. Everyone dies. I closed my eyes and I leaned back in my seat and I relaxed all my muscles, and I just decided in that split second, I'm going to die peacefully.
Though the accident lasted only seconds in Earth time, Amanda experienced what felt like a complete pause as she left her body.
I first lost my hearing. It was as though someone put earplugs in my ears. My eyes were closed, but there was almost like a deep, denser darkness that kind of set in. And there was a lightness where there was no sensation in the body. There was no heaviness, density, contraction, tension, all the things that are just so normal to being human. It felt like I was out of the body and floating in this beautifully comfortable, secure, safe, pillowy, feathery, black, kind of contained cave, I guess you could say. And as soon as I got there, I had the deepest sense of peace and just all security, all safety, everything was suddenly perfect. At first, it was just this real sense of familiarity, like I've been here before. And I've passed through this place many times in between lives. It was like a greeting room, almost like a waiting room, a place where you get to be welcomed and reunited.
Amanda then sensed she was surrounded by many beings who knew her intimately.
I had this feeling as though I was being surrounded by many. It was like a knowing that I was being surrounded by many, and it felt like presence of many, many, many people, or maybe many beings, because I couldn't quite make them out. It was very dark in there, but I was definitely not alone. And as I started to take that in, and again, this is happening in like a few seconds, but Earth time was paused and there was a full situation. I started to feel the emanation, the kind of like telepathic welcome, you could say, of all of these beings. And it was like just so much joy in seeing me and reconnecting with me. There was a sense of familiarity, as though I knew all of these beings. Maybe they were soul family. I was known by these beings. These beings knew me more than just, say, one lifetime. These are people, angels, beings that I'd been connected to through many, 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 many lives. There was like a unbelievable acceptance and deep knowing of each other that surpassed any kind of human relationship I've ever had in this life as Amanda. It was like these people actually know me. It was like they could see inside to my soul, and they could see not just like this life as Amanda, but they could see all of the different characters that I'd ever been. To be seen, not just like your physical appearance, but to be like seen at a soul level by so many people that have loved you so many times, is like a very overwhelming experience that can change someone's life forever.
Amanda experienced these beings not as superior, but as equals, meeting at the soul level.
When I was in that place, it was the higher self, the higher aspect of who I was. My personality, my body, my story as Amanda was like in that car in the accident. And I was like, the best of me were up here with the best parts of these beings. And so it was literally just like the essences of God, the qualities of divinity in each one of us, although individual and unique, like not a bunch of blobs of oneness, like literally like our stories weave together. And in a higher perspective like that, I could sense like the appreciation for like all of the lives and the circumstances and the relationships that we'd had together in many earth lives, and just how meaningful it actually all had been to develop our souls. Special to my experience was like a knowing of who I really was beyond my earth incarnation, knowing that there was actually so much more than just my job, just the things I had done, good or bad, just the way that I looked, just the way, that I went about in the world as Amanda, that there is actually just so much more that is part of all my lives, same with everybody else, that goes with us from life to life, which is, the soul. And those things are eternal.
Then Amanda was back.
Suddenly I was awake and I was upside down in my car, looking at upside down trees going straight down, like 700 feet. And my hearing started to come back. I could hear metal crunching and crashing, people yelling. And yeah, basically my five senses returned, but I was still pretty blissed out, to be honest. So it was like one of the most dangerous days of my entire life, if not the most. And yet I'm hanging upside down in this car and I've just been like home, or on my way home with this greeting committee from my true home.
The experience completely transformed Amanda's priorities and her understanding of death.
Suddenly there was really like an extra comfort and an extra trust around the topic of death. All of these shifts started to happen in me. Like I no longer was worried about a lot of the little worries that you worry about in life. Like I just knew that no matter what happened, everything would be okay. And in the year following the accident, I started to make a lot of changes in my life. I started volunteering at a hospice. I wanted to talk to people who were dying. Different preferences started to set in really quickly. I didn't care so much about accumulating material items, and I didn't care so much about competition and comparing myself to other people. I ended up leaving my partner in that year. We were just no longer on the same page, and we had been together for 13 years. And then I sold the house, and I gave away and sold most of the belongings in that house. For the next 2 years, I lived in my RV and spent a lot of time camping. I know that this experience, even though it was so brief, it changed so many things. And I never really went back to the way that I was before, still at it, still learning, still growing, but holding on to what I learned in that experience about surrendering, at the moment where something is out of my control, and letting go of the outcome as often as possible, and not attaching too tightly to the material world, the physical things of this world, just being grateful for having my needs met.
For more relevant news from around our planet, please visit suprememastertv.com/news.